It is with great pleasure that I come to you this morning with a title that the Lord has laid on my mind for such a long time. And like I said last week, I started last week by letting you know that many of us have crisis in identifying who we are. And that crisis is something that has given us another name and has also given us another identity of who we should be to what people say we are. This morning the Lord has laid it on my heart to take you on a little tour that will open you up to exactly what you are. The title of the message is going to simply be, Who Are You? Who are you? Can someone say that with me?
Who are you?
Can you say it louder?
Who are you?
It's a question that constantly comes up every second. On the phone, when you're called, and you can identify who calls, or you're not familiar with the number that calls, the question will be, who are you? Or sometimes we get so polite and say, who is this? Or we sometimes say, may I know who is speaking? But God forbid if they call us at the wrong time, we tend to let them have it. Stop playing game, who are you? Many a times people come and knock at the door and we say, who are you? But in sometimes we rephrase them and say, who is this? But this question comes as a question of not only identifying yourself, but truly may I know who you are. But I find out that identity is deeper than just knowing your name. I find out that when someone asks, who are you? They're not asking for your name. They're asking for your biography in a minute. And I found out that the meaning of who are you means that it is not what you do that defines who you are. It is not where you live that defines who you are. It is not what kind of profession that you are into that defines who you are. So it is impossible for us to know that until we get to know who God says we are. In some cases, we judge people by looking at them. We judge people by their profession and we think they're the most beautiful person in the world. But who you are is not what you do. I have seen lawyers do most of the outrageous things. A lawyer I hired in New Jersey that was supposed to help me fight a case took my money and then told me he forgot. I've seen a doctor who was accused of molesting their patients. I've seen a pastor who has been accused of embezzling the money of the church. I've seen a nurse who has been fired because she steals drugs and take it home. There are things that you will know. So if your profession defines you, all of these cannot be defined along the line of your life. I've seen teachers molesting students. I've heard this story. There's a story lately about a teacher who has been molesting a child from the age of 8. Imagine, she's 30-something years old, and she find out that this little boy is more attractive than any grown-up man. So when you look at all that, you will see that your profession does not really define who you are. That's who you go. That's what you go to school to learn. That is your trademark. That is what you are trained to become in life. But does not in any way of life define truly what goes on in your mind. So as long as I live, I now begin to see people that it is not what they think they are to me that really matters. It is who God says. Because the Bible says by their fruits. And so when anybody asks you next time and asks you, who are you? They're not ordinarily asking you about your name. They're asking you, what is beneath your name? What is under your name? I've seen people who look scary, that when they come, they look so scary, but in their heart, they have a child heart. They cannot even hurt a fly, but their look is so terrifying that you would think this one is come to kill. And yet I've seen some that are so innocently looking, but they are more dangerous in their mind. They're cold killers. So now you wonder in your mind, who Or should I literally say, who is me? Many walk around with this crisis. Many walk around not knowing and not being able to define, who am I? What am I? Where do I come from? And where exactly am I going? I met a man one time, a couple of years back, who lives in the shelter. And was standing by the roadside, and he had a sign, I need to work. I will work for anything. Interestingly, the writing was very catchy. The writing was very attractive. The writing was something that you cannot miss. On my way to downtown, so coming back, I still see the man, so I stopped by. And I beat him to come over, and he came over, and I asked him questions about what kind of work can he do. He said, I do painting, I do any kind of thing. I said, so how do you learn it yourself? Yeah, he said, you don't understand. I messed with drug, and this is where I find myself. I sent to jail, rehab, and I lost everything. I'm only asking for another chance. I don't have a job to give him. I was just trying to be very inquisitive. And so I found out that this man is not really who the society has tagged him to be. So I gave him my number. I said, call me and come to my place of work. I'm going to introduce you to my boss. He came. I find out that this man can not only paint, but he also can do so many things. And so I said, okay, how much will it cost you to write something on this glass and to design this place that these are the things that we sell here, and write it on the glass? He said, that's a piece of cake. I could do that in a minute. I said, really? He said, yes. How much will it cost? He says, it's amount. I entrusted in the hands of this man that I do not know $150. He left. I was impatient because he told me he's going to be back in a minute. You know, when some people tell you they'll be back in a minute, they don't really mean in a minute. Like when Jamaican soul tells you, I soon come, they soon don't come. They will tire behind. And then when they tell you, you go so, that means you got a couple of blocks to go. But they just say, you go so. You go so doesn't mean that it's next in the corner. You just keep going. And the Trinidadians will also have their way of telling you they're coming now, but they're not coming now, as they would say it. But a day passed, I couldn't reach him, he doesn't have a phone. The next morning I met him standing by the door. And the first thing he says, I know you're angry, but you don't have to be. Because what I was looking for, I didn't get it. Anyway, long story short, come back to see what is at the door of my business place. This man designed it and writes all these things there. He gets back to his feet and is still working. Amen. Who are you? Do you really know that the situation you are can change completely and give you another brand new name? That the society will call you and you will think in your mind, this is who I am. Like I said, I've seen people who look very calm and quiet, but they're dangerous in their mind. I've seen people who look dangerous and very harmful, but in their mind, they don't mean anything. But you see them and they talk and they act and they do that, but they have nothing in their mind.